Okay. Yeah.
I knew the area that I started in had a reputation for great white sharks. I'd never seen a great white shark in my life. I'd never even seen a swordfish in my life. I'd never even seen anything bigger than a sea bass in my life. So it wasn't a week before we had our first great white shark sighting. It was a 17-footer that rolled underneath our jet ski, and Ren Knoll saw it. Stood up on the jet ski and started screaming, "Whitey, whitey, 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 whitey." I had no idea what to do, so I just froze. And that was my first great white shark that I ever saw. And we saw them regularly all the way down the coast until we got literally almost to point conception. We saw them regularly. Very, very scary and frightening. You realize very quick where you fit in on the food chain. Fog would set in to where I couldn't see 12 feet from me. Incredibly scary. We had 3 seasoned watermen panic on the water and quit. Literally quit, walk off the job. It was that dangerous. I just kept going. I knew the cause was important enough, and I'm not a quitter. So I did arguably the impossible. Wound up in Mexico 90 days later and did a great thing. Went 2008, did Endurance Island. I explained that to you, what it was. And then I decided this year that I wasn't done and that it needed to get bigger. And I thought this time I could really do it. I had some momentum and I wanted to break my world record. Stand-up paddling had become the fastest growing sport in the water community. Everybody was doing it. I thought, wow, what a chance. I have an audience, a captured audience. I need to go out and I need to go do another long paddle. And I need to bring more attention to this and get that circle of influence bigger. So this past summer, I jumped in the water in Key West, Florida. 93 days later, I ended up in New York City. The dynamics of that were, there were record heat on the East Coast and it was record cold on the West Coast. Many days that I paddled, it was 113 to 116 on the water. I'll show you a paddle in a little while that was bit by a croc. When I did the intercoastal, I had to deal with crocs, I had to deal with horseflies. I had to deal with just tremendous, tremendous heat, sweltering heat. On the outside, the wind was never going my way. It was a very, very tough paddle. There weren't huge waves, but it was very, very difficult to get up that coast. I'm going to tell you that I don't think it'll be a long time before anybody goes and breaks that record or actually successfully paddles that coast. Key West, I found out, was 150 miles out to sea with very little landmass to break it up. Now I know what open ocean paddling is. So again, a campaign for a plastic-free ocean is why I did this. I was paddling around out here in Laguna for maybe, 30 minutes, and I picked up 2 pieces of plastic. The funny thing is, one of the things that I picked up today was a Frisbee that had a recycle logo on it, but it was made out of plastic. Only 3% of the plastic that they collect can be recycled. So I'm working with companies that will take any plastic because it's not clean. As I check into this, I find out, oh, recycling. That's a very good scam. Only 3% of products that are collected are recycled. I found a company that will recycle everything that we take out of the water and make it into what it was intended to be used for. Railroad ties, barricades on freeways, children's desks, things that last forever. Not we take it out of the package once and that's it. It goes into the environment, it kills the human race. So we're working on the back end on it with the American Schools program on an education piece that goes into the schools. This is the first generation of kids that have been environmentally friendly in the 1st grade. That's huge. That gives me an audience, somebody to talk to that's interested, that has a lot of energy. This is a huge opportunity. This problem is 100% remediable. My organization, Plastic Free Ocean, has come up with a model that any community at all, Huntington Beach, for example, Laguna Beach, for a very little bit of money can go harvest the plastic out of the water, recycle it into durable goods, and create a sustainable cycle that keeps the waterways safe and clean. And that's what we intend to do with Plastic Free Ocean.
Tell me a little bit more about the journey. And how would you compare the 2 coasts?
Okay, California, the 2 coasts are vastly different. Very, very remote. Both of them are very remote. California, a lot of California is sheer cliff with no access to the beach at all. 100, 200-foot cliff all the way down. Incredibly dangerous. No place to land. No place to land. If you get in trouble, you have to run for it and go forward or go back, but you're not going in. Winds 50, 60 miles an hour. swells up to 10 to 12 feet. That's why those I'm telling you, 3 seasoned watermen quit in their own respective areas where they were familiar with the water. It was that dangerous. Fog would come into where you couldn't see 12 feet. Everybody had strobes on them, so they were blinking. Whistles, horns. I was scared most of the time. California coastline up to Point Conception is probably one of the most deadly and rugged coastlines in the world. It was very difficult, and I found it very scary. On the East Coast, again, much of the East Coast was not accessible by land, but that was trees and beaches, not so much deadly as landing, but no access again. So we would have to use the waterways. We would put the boat in. Many times I would motor out of a channel into the open ocean and have to motor 20 miles to get to my start line. Then paddle 16, 17 miles and motor 20 miles forward or 30 miles back so I could pull my ski out.